Okay, so today for today's math lesson, we're going to be converting numerical expressions into unit form. You will see in the problem set and on Zern, it'll give you start with all of your work there, and then we're going to slowly, and as I'm going to do it, we're going to slowly take away some of those supports and blanks. So if our first problem is 8 times 31, I'm going to think of it as 31 eighths. So I'm going to change my unit to eighths instead of 31. And then in my mind, right, we've been working on numbers that end with zero and multiplying it, like 10 times 352 or 49 times 50. And we're able to use that zero to kind of help us do some of the math more in our head. So I'm going to think of, instead of 31, I'm going to think of it as 30 eighths plus a 1/8. So you can still see that my 30 and my plus 1 is still back to my original 31. But I'm going to break it apart or decompose it into numbers that are easier to use in my mind. So you'll see it as 38 plus 1/8. So this is what it would look as 31/8. But I'm going to think of it as 38 plus that extra one over there. So here it is written in unit form. I'm going to think. This is what I'm thinking right now in my head. 38 plus 1/8. So sorry, this should be a 30 here. So I'm going to think in my mind then 38 eighths is 30 times 8 plus 1/8 is 1 times 8. Then I can do my math, right? Well, I know 3 times 8 is 24, and I need to bring down my 0 there. And I know 1 times 8 is 8, my plus sign, so then I know that 31 times is 248. I can add those together. So I'm using what I kind of know already about the problems to help me figure it out a little bit better there and use some more mental math than having to write some big, huge, long problem. Okay, we're going to try another one where now we're going to fill in all those boxes together. So we're going to do 49 times 20. Okay, so we're going to think of as 20 as our units, right? It's easier to think 49 20s. So over here, I'm going to think of it as, think of it this way, 50 20s minus 120. Sorry, there we go. So, right, 49, if I take it to 50, I have my nice 0 there. That's easier for me to think in my mind. And if I minus 1 from it, I'm still back at my original 49. I'm just going to separate it out. So I'm going to add some to take some away later. So our visual diagram would look like this, right? I would have, the whole thing would be here, right? It's my 49 20s. And then I would have 20s in, right, in here. And then we're not going to actually draw 49 of them. Okay, so that's what our original problem is. But we're going to think of it, remember, like we said, as 50 of them. So I got to go a little bit longer than that one, right? We're going to think of this as 50 20s. And then your dot, 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 and then your 20s there. Okay, so that's what we're going to think. We're going to think of it as 50 20s minus 120. So now I'm going to rewrite this in actual numerical form, right? So I'm going to do 50 times 20. That's what 50 20s is, minus 1 times 20. Okay, then I'm going to do my math. Well, I know 5 times 2 is 10, and then I have to bring down this one, and I have to bring down this 0. Minus 1 times 20 is 20. So I'm going to do 1,000 minus 20. So I'm just going to go back 20, which is then gives me 980. So I was able to do 49 times 20 in a different way, to think about it a little bit different. Okay, flip your page. We're going to do one more. Okay, we're going to do, let's think, 12 times 98. So I want us to think, do I want 12s, my units to be 12s, or my units to be 98s? Like, do you want to write that? So we're going to do 12s. Okay? So we're going to write over here, we're going to think of this as, I think, as 12ths. And then this here, I would give this 100, right? So we're going to think of this as 100 12s. Now, how many did I give to it? 2. So I have to take away minus 2 12s. So remember, when we give to it, I'm going to think of this as 100 so I can get my double zeros. But I have to take away 2 because I added 2 to get to 100. So I got to take away 2 to get back to it. So then I'm going to rewrite this as 100 times 12 minus 2 times 12. Okay, well, 1 times 12 is 12. Add my 2 zeros, 1, 2, so it's 1200 minus, what is 2 times 12? 24. So then all I have to think is 1200 minus 24. Now, if you're like struggling to think about that, you can do this, right? You can stack it up. If you're not able to see it in your head, you can stack it up that way. Or if you're able to see that we've got, again, 1200 minus 24, I can think 1200 minus 20 is 80 minus another 4. So that's 1180, which would be 1176. But let's check here, right? I can't here. I got to regroup. This becomes a 1, 10, 9, 10, 6, 7, 1176. So my answer is 1,176. So today we're going to work on thinking, how can we round or estimate one of these numbers to have a 0 in it, and then keep writing this out this